Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So the recording is running. Yes, perfect. So I know we just previously talked already a little bit, but could I kindly ask you to introduce yourself, tell me a little bit about your background, and also especially with regards to the topic of digital ethics, how your work has been relating to that. Maybe you could start a little bit with this.
Okay, thank you. I'm Zapta Shinwari. I'm a distinguished national professor here in Quaid-e-Azam University, also Professor Emeritus. I remained Vice Chancellor, what you call it, President of the university in 3-4 universities in Pakistan, and was working for biodiversity conservation in my early life. Internationally and in Pakistan, I'm the fellow of Pakistan Academy of Sciences, of Islamic World Academy of Sciences, of the World Academy of Sciences, and I'm the Vice President of Islamic World Academy of Sciences and was Secretary General of the Pakistan Academy of Sciences. And in fact, I would be soon working with the International Science Council also and going to Paris after a few days. So related to your project, I work for COMEST, which is the UNESCO World Commission for Ethics in Science and Technology, Scientific Knowledge and Technology. I remain co-chair of this COMEST and still work with them, and we work on all these issues that we will be talking in a while on digital ethics, on innovation, on AI, Internet of Things, and several other geoengineering, land tenure and resource ownership, etc., etc. Because when we talk in the few sentences later, this is really now the ethics part is the most important because of the interconnectedness of the world. It's so close, we are so far, like you are in Austria, I'm sitting in Pakistan, but look, it looks like that you are just next door.
Right.
So that is the development. And that also has some responsibility then. That like this meeting, it should be ethically used. Like we were discussing, I signed some agreement, I asked your permission for something. So this is what internationally we should be asking, we should be praying that people should be using privacy, data of the people and other things. We will be discussing all these issues today, and I hope this will be useful. Your academy can use it. And my message to our president of the academy and the vice president that thank you for having this project. And I'm always ready whenever you want. We can have some kind of workshop, either digitally or online or hybrid or physical. I recently had one with CIPRI in Sweden.
Nice.
We had a meeting on ethics related, but biosecurity, biosafety, etc. So we can have it in Austria too. I've been there once, so hope that it didn't change in last, I was there in 2005 or 6.
Oh, so, yeah, that's a while ago.
Yeah, so maybe it is now changed. You may be flying now in Austria. So.
Some things have changed, and I think some things always remain the same in Austria.
Yeah. So that was something about me.
Great, thank you so much. It's very interesting, and we thought you would be a great candidate to participate as an expert. So we're very grateful that you're taking time and participating today. And I wanted to start the interview with a quite general question. I wanted to ask you, in your opinion, what are some of the main important digital technologies or applications that you find to have a large impact on society currently? And maybe you could also explain why they are important in your opinion.
Yeah, I just give you a very recent example, for example, and then we can go on and on. ChatGPT-4, for example, the recent, every student, every teacher talks about it, and I hope same is in Austria. Yeah. Now, this is a technology of artificial intelligence that can be used, we can use two words, either cheating or teaching. So this is you as a student, as a teacher, that you want this technology to cheat or to teach. So both looks like similar word. So that is where is the importance. So when you talk about the social integrity part, there are several technologies that can we can talk about, like Internet of Things, as I said. Like I said, artificial intelligence is the most recent one. And then these are used by social media and other aspects that can reach anywhere in the world. The problem with this is the interconnectedness of the world, that we are so close to each other that the innovation is not bad. Innovation is our challenge, is that we need to innovate things and we need to make life comfortable of the humans and the all living organisms. We can save it through technology conservation and we can do several. But having said that, because of this interconnectedness, the technology should bridge geographical and cultural barriers. When you use some innovation, that should be developed ethically. How? That respects the diverse, the values, the beliefs, rights of individuals and the communities. So when you have some technology, you should understand if somebody has some belief, if somebody has some religion, if somebody has some, diverse culture, ethics, norms, that should be respected. So all these technology that we were talking about, we should be thinking when it is used really ethically. So that's the most important.
Thank you. And you mentioned this aspect of diversity in developing and using technologies and that being very important for ethics. Could you give some examples of how diversity in cultural or religious form can impact how digital ethics are seen?
You can, for example, let's the recent artificial intelligence and chat GPT-4. How can, if you use, for example, you may be, atheist, you may not believe in any religion, for example, and it's your right. What I believe is that we should have a color-blind commitment, I call it, that we should not be, we should respect each other's religion, caste, color, language, country. We should not be, differentiating people based on either gender, for example, women and men. So this is the most important. And now, when we talk about all this, so the privacy of an individual and security of an individual living in multicultural society, for example, in Europe or in anywhere. Let's say, I can give you one word, because I'm a Muslim, so Islamophobia, for example.
Yeah.
People sometimes think that, this religion, maybe everybody's terrorist, for example. Another side, but when you look at the incidents, it's our religion never taught us to harm an individual. Even we are taught that we should not be killing an animal without, harming even an animal. Leave aside, and I quote you one example that our religion says. I should not be talking much about religion, but just one example, that killing one human being is like killing the whole humanity. It's a crime that you kill the humanity. That is the punishment for us if we kill any innocent human being or any human being. So now this is what we are taught from the childhood. Now, when we talk about the technology, the innovation, let's say artificial intelligence, you can, misbehave about the prophets, about the books, and you create something which is unwarranted. You don't need it. Why should I be criticizing any other religion, Christianity, Jewish, or Hindus, or whatever? Why should I? They are born there, they practice it, and I should respect them. And everybody should respect all the religions, unless the religion should be your personal, your matter, and it should not harm the other body. You should not impose somebody, you have to believe this. No. It's your problem. So what I'm saying is that this is one diverse kind of thing. Secondly, then it comes to the gender. Like you maybe, the gender and I call it the poor countries. This innovation, like robotics, like artificial intelligence, is reducing manpower in the industries. People are getting jobless. So it's good to innovate, it's good to use technology, but if you don't care about the people who are, earning some money for them, how can they be, benefit from the technology? Number one. Number two, the developed world develops because the technology is usually innovation is done by the money, and money is mainly in the, when we call it north-south divide. So the technology comes there from the West, and then the people in the poor country, they cannot benefit from that technology. And in fact, they are forced to buy it because of the privacy, because of the, patents, etc., etc. Give you another example of vaccine, for example, in the recent coronavirus, the WTO regime of the world didn't allow intellectual property rights to be used by the developing countries. So the vaccine were mainly available for the rich, and the poor could not use it. But if you look at the bigger picture, the WHO says no one is safe unless everybody is safe. So even if you vaccine yourself, but if the other individual, the poor majority of them are poor, if they don't use it, so you're still at risk. So this is a common sense that if we could, this world is too materialistic sometimes, too much, either too rich or too poor. We live in the, two worlds. So that is what the technology is when we talk about the, interconnectedness and harmony among the human beings, that how can we live together with peace and harmony? How can we benefit from each other? So the biggest problem with innovation sometimes is that it is mainly for the developed world or the rich people, and they benefit, they get a lot of money out of it. I give you one more example, I'm sorry. And that is the medicinal herbs and plants and medicine. 25% of the world medicine comes from herbs, from the plants. The compounds comes from herbs. I basically remained a plant scientist, so I was fighting for the rights of indigenous communities, because their wisdom, their knowledge of thousands of years were used by the developed people. They get that plants screened easily, gets a compound. They get a plant, let's say on €1, and they sell back the small compound on €100 or €1,000. So that they didn't pay. In fact, the international agreement, what we call it CBD, or benefit sharing, is that they have to share back to the communities for their development, because the knowledge comes from there. The plants originally comes from there. Later, it may be developed or grown or compound isolated in the industry. So this innovation is good, but the utilization and the benefit sharing and, looking for the poor communities in Africa, in other, that's a problem. So what I took long, but what I mean by saying all these examples, that innovation is good if it is used ethically and if it is based on ethical principles, what we call it, responsible conduct of innovation. So that is, RCI, innovation and research, sometimes we use it, CRIC. So if we use a responsible conduct, if we think about the humanity, then it's, of course, great. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And what would have to be different in order to have like a fairer approach to technology? Is it simply that richer countries share technologies with poorer countries, or is it more complex than that? What would be needed to create a better system than the unfair system that's in place now that you described?
Yeah, there can be several ways and means. Number one, we can handle the issues of biasness. Like if we sometimes, I use a funny word. I say, I was given an award by UNESCO, and I was saying, sometimes I think whether we are the same Homo sapiens, because we are treated differently. We think, we are different creatures sometimes. So what I'm saying is, if we try to have innovations and products, when I say ethical principles, We have to keep biasness out of mind. Like I should not be considering, let's say, women as inferior to men. For example, gender biasness, or color biasness, or language biasness, or religion biasness. We should biasness out from the when we give benefit to the society. Number one, two, transparency and accountability. These are the two words that we should be using when we use technology for the social benefit, that we should disclose. As I told you, there are good aspects of it, there are bad aspects of it. So as I said of ChatGPT, that you can cheat or teach. So we should be, telling the things that are harmful for the humanity. I give you an example of some medicine. The good use is written very in big letters, but it is usually, if there is something reaction from that product, it is a small letter that you cannot even read it. So, and it may cause problem. There are many deaths of the adverse reaction of the medicine also. I'm a biologist. So the accountability and the transparency, if we use, and when I say code of conducts, we should have some standards and some guidelines for innovations. And that is what digital ethics says. The digital ethics are based on code of conduct, standards, and guidelines. And if we follow the innovation on those digital ethics principles, then of course, it's really a good use.
Yes, certainly. And how can different countries or different stakeholders agree on a code of conduct? Do you think that there are a lot of different opinions, what people think is good innovation, or how can an agreement be reached? Your opinion?
Yeah, the word is the future is the digital future. There's no doubt about it. Even the poorest people can now use mobile telephone, and I could not imagine when I was a child. Yeah. And now people, as I said, we are sitting across the continent, but we can talk to each other. So how can it be used for the benefit of the humankind? Is if we could try to create a kind of inclusiveness. We try to, vaccine was one of the example. Yeah. If we try to, have those, promoting responsible innovation and ethical consideration in a way that we use technology to ensure that these innovations serve the common good and contribute to the better world for all. So if a technology is used for what we call it a common good and for the betterment of everybody, again, I say, irrespective of caste, color, religion, etc., etc. So then, and how can it be reached? For example, as I said, the developing, let's take example of the benefit sharing of herbal medicine. The developed world has the technology and the developing country have the product, the nature, the, diversity of plants and humans and, diversity of diseases, diversity of everything. So if they mutually use the, for benefit of both humankind, then it's very easy. But what happens is that those who develop technology, they get a lot of money for it, a lot of resources for it. And those who have contributed in terms of labor force or in terms of product material, they don't take benefit out of it. So if at a unit, what we were talking in UNESCO too, if we try to, take care of the basic principles of justice, norms, and ethics for what we call it, the CSR, corporate social responsibility, all these basic principles, if we have some principles on these, I think the world can be more peaceful and more clean to live. Let's take example of climate change, geoengineering. And now we are nowadays working on geoengineering, ethics of geoengineering, like whether you suck the carbon dioxide or the gas from the environment, or you put aerosols in the environment, or you block the sunlight from the, the poor countries are worried that they may do it for their benefit. And we are experimenting. We have only one place to live, small globe. And if we destroy this globe with our technology and we don't follow the precautionary principle, we may be at harm. So there is, your question was, how can we reach a conclusion at, what I call it North and South divide? How can we bridge these? And another example is your lower population and our too much people are born in the developing country. So you need a workforce and they need some better job. If they are trained, skilled labor, that can be useful for you. So there are several ways that internationally we can have some common agenda that can be useful by the whole humans.
Yes, certainly.
I speak too much. I'm sorry if I.
Not at all. It's perfect. Take your time.
You can later on edit these words that I'm saying in between sometimes.
No, it's very, very interesting. Please take your time to answer the questions, as much time as you have, of course. Yeah, we talked about, I understand now, like the idea that to develop a technology where everyone can benefit. But do you think that there are differences, like cultural differences, professional differences, religious differences, that influence the way that we think about digital ethics? Like, are there different ways to see digital ethics, in your opinion?
Yeah. I can give you one or two examples. Why we talk about all this innovational ethics first? Let's talk about this, why we are talking about ethics, why it is needed, that we talk about digital ethics, for example, specifically. It is because it is not, the technology is not for only individual. It impacts individual, it impacts society, and it impacts environment, as I gave you many examples. So that's why we talk about. If it was your private problem, I had no issue to talk about ethics. Yeah. But because when you use artificial intelligence, you use it, the privacy of society, you breach Internet of Things, you watch the whole community, etc. That's why we talk about. And the other part of your question was the diversity. That how can we agree on minimum agenda, let's call it. I'll give you one example of medical ethics. Like in West, the doctor is expected to be a professional. If you go to a doctor, you are a client, you are you have some problem and you don't have some relation with him or her. You just give some, your social benefits, either your government pays money or you pay money and you are treated and that's it. You are not emotionally involved with the doctor. And when you are go to the doctor, they explain to you different choices and you choose one, whether you need a surgery, whether you don't want a surgery, etc., etc. But in our part of the world, when we go to the doctor, we believe he is like, in our culture, it is believed that he is our, like a fatherly figure. Normally, women cover themselves, but for a doctor, they remove everything and they show it because they believe that they are like our fathers, like our. And secondly, when he offers some different, choices to the patient says, "You are a doctor. Why you are telling me? You decide." So, thirdly, in your country or in the West, mainly individual is important. But in our area, me, I, my family, and my family is me. We cannot be, separated. Even the bigger family, like my father, if he is alive, he lives with me, my brothers live with me, their son, their children, big family, and we depend on each other. So we cannot be treated as individual, but we are treated as a family. In the developed countries, they're treated as individual and they are the individual of the society. So there is a difference of, ethical consideration in both. Both are good. That is good. Autonomy, independence, this here, the Eastern ethics in this sense is also. So when we talk about this diversity, when we deal about it, so we should be knowing that. For example, but this autonomy or this, independence, there are some barriers sometimes. For example, you may talk to me very frankly, but when it comes to my religion, you are not allowed to talk about my prophet and my holy book and my everything. That is where I become senseless.
Mm-hmm.
So we should be respecting, like the holy books of any religion, of anybody. We should not be discouraged. It's their belief. They should be believing it. If you think it is wrong, it's them. So those, when we talk about all this digitally too, because it's a social media time era, you have watched several countries that they have invested in the social media, and they have influenced the developed world elections, etc. You may be remembering USA was, saying something about Russia. Russia was saying about USA, etc., etc. I'm not going into politics, but what I'm saying is that putting money in it, then that is, you can have rumors on social media, you can spread it fast, you can. So the ethics, where are we going? What are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
And the same is used as a weapon against the other.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So you are now looking at the wars that we are having in different places, and because of social media, it spreads very fast. Both the negative and positive things. So there is that we, as a human, if we don't have a boundary, if we don't have, those principles, what I said, the standards, the code of conduct, the guidelines, we are going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And this divide, ideally speaking, with this digital technology and innovation, we should have been more at peace and more at ease because things are coming up. But it is going other way around. If you look 20, 30, 40 years back, we were more peaceful than today. Look at the world, what's happening. Sometimes you are worried we are going third world and fourth world and fifth generation war, etc., etc. So we with this technology, sometimes I feel as an ethicist that we are losing our brain and we are becoming too robots. And then another one you can talk about, like the fleshy robots that we are having. In the next 20 years, you will be having a female and male robot. You may not be needing, human relations. You can have a choice of robots in the shop, and you can teach or, have a detail so that you can say that your boyfriend should be doing this way, that way, laughing, crying, doing all the emotions for you, and vice versa. So if we are going in that direction, human is the name of emotions too. So, we sometimes we want to express ourselves. So that if your machine is doing it for you, so I don't know, what is the next generation going to experiment? You are a younger person, so you can expect to see in the next 20, 30 years.
So the robotics, in your opinion, will change our human relationships as well then, fundamentally?
If there is no, ethical boundaries. For example, 20 years back, I was teaching ethics as a bioethics. There was a planning of human cloning, for example. You already had sheep cloning, but then there was some hue and cry, and people tried to stop it, not to make copies of human beings, the same human being. Like Mathalena may have 10 copies, one sitting with me and 9 working in 9 countries. So interesting, or I don't know, dangerous or what. So that is that if now that has gone, now the future is that we already have some fleshy small animals available, robots that are fleshy, that are not of, Normally we think that robots are hard and but now it's flesh is coming, and we expect if we don't have ethical boundaries, in next 20 years we may be having some people believe 2050 you may have a fleshy human robot, and you can marry each other, you can, so if I think, but I can imagine that's really too dangerous if we allow that. On a road, on a way, you will not be able to differentiate between a robot human and a non-robot human. So because that will be acting the same way that, and thirdly, even with human, if we control certain diseases, certain genetic things, there are good things of it. You can increase your span of life. Now you may be close to 100 in some countries, but in future you can reach 150, 200, and many more. If we try to invest in, infectious diseases and others. So that can another aspect to think about, whether you want to live for 1,000 years, for example, or you say enough is enough. Yeah, I'm tired of this life. This 100 years or 90 years are enough for me. So that is the choice that I don't know whether we want to keep it or not. So it's a really very strange world that we live in.
Yeah, but so it sounds like there are some fundamental choices where we have to see if we want to go into one direction or the other from an ethical perspective.
But if we are given a choice, but sometimes why we are talking about this interview, because you are interviewing me because we are not given a choice in digital ethics or in innovation. We never get a choice, but we have in the market and our children go and buy it and use it. So, but if we have a choice, then it's okay if somebody is using it, reading all these guidelines and etc., and using it, it's okay. But if it's imposed on you, and if you have no choice, then there is a problem where your privacy is hurt. For example, you may be living in an area where everything is Internet of Things, everything is controlled. So there is that you don't have a choice, but even in your house, your mobile, some people believe that next 10 years, your whole privacy in your home may be communicated elsewhere, even if it's switched off. Whether you are sleeping or you are, all this. So there is that this development is too fast in technological speaking, innovation speaking. So, but if we don't have principles or ethics for it, we are going nowhere, and we may not be living even. As I said, of geoengineering, if we do some experiment with this world and this world is gone, we're all gone, finish. Many species came to the world and are gone, extinct. Came, maybe same human being, if we do it, without any watch on us, we may be destroying the whole world, experimenting with a small, this is like our lab. Nature is our lab. With that lab goes uncontrolled. You can imagine. Yeah. Corona has given you one small example.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you. And you started talking about this already, and I wanted to follow up. How do you think the ethical challenges that we have now with digitalization are different from the ethical challenges that we had in the past before we started with digitalization?
Yeah, now are more, we face different challenges. Past was with this digital ethics since last maybe 2 decades only, not far away. 100 years back, we were different, and 20 years now we are different, and next 20 years we will be different. The challenges are different, as I said. When if there was innovation 300 years back when industrialization was coming in, when pharmaceutical companies were being grown, when knowledge was coming, there was innovation. But today, what we both are talking is the digital ethics and innovation. With these digital things, with the social media, with the artificial intelligence, with the Internet of Things, with all these things that we have now, things are different. because we have breach of the privacy of individual, of the society, of the environment. We are interfering in the environment that was conserved for thousands and millions of years. And we are experimenting with it, sometimes thinking to experiment. We have destroyed it quite a bit in climate change. And now we want to recover it. And we want to recover it by doing another experiment on it. So that's why the challenges are different. What we should be doing it, Europe has a precautionary principle like GMO was when GMO came, America were using it, but Europe had a precautionary principle that we should first, confirm it that it is not bad, like for the humans, as well as when the seeds goes out, it may not become as a weed, destroying the natural habitat and all this. And, and now the same is with this, that if you don't do precautionary principle, let's say geoengineering or artificial intelligence. For example, in my class, I normally talk about, as I said, Chat GPT. You students, you give them some assignment, and while sitting mobile, and he can in minutes, so he or she will not use the brain, and will say, okay, Chat GPT is doing artificial intelligence, everything. Why should I be using my brain? So that's in a way stopping thinking and critical thinking. And another thing that is very important, the future challenge, the whole world that is facing, education.
Yeah.
Whether we are creating robots in the world, or we are having education as a public good of critical thinking. Because even from the childhood, we are training our children to become good doctors, good engineers, good, surgeon, good blah, blah, pilots, and etc., etc. But we are not trying to create good human beings. So they are all robots. We are talking about science. I'm a scientist, somebody is doctor, somebody is engineering, doing good job, blah, blah. But where are the humans? What are their values? What are their thinking? Like we two are fellow human beings. How should you think about me, and I should think about your rights and your duties and rights? So that is the whole world is now. I'm a professor, and we think about it, whether we are going in the right direction, whether education should be the innovation, these digital technologies, whether we should be having critical thinking. Our focus are having some good doctors, engineers in the field, robots. They're going straight in a bus, morning 9 o'clock, going there, then having like we are, going to hospital, having good operations, coming back with children and all this. That's it. But when it comes to the environment, when it comes to the climate change, when it comes to the society, who will think about it? So that is that's another question, that the challenges you said are really different, and we have to really go back, sit and think, what should our system should be? That from children, from the childhood, we should be trying more focus on character building, on humanity, on our syllabi should be that whatever we are talking now, from childhood, we teach our children that we have to respect all the human beings, irrespective of caste, color, religion, language, country, passport. We respect all human beings are same. We are the same species. So if we try to do every country, every individual is doing that, I think we will be more peaceful then.
And if there was a stronger focus on this type of education, then in your opinion, would we be able to better solve digital ethics challenges as well?
Yes, because when you teach your younger generation of critical thinking, they would be, this technology, we may not bet on the grown-up individual like me and you specifically. I'm gone, I'm the next world now. But when your children are coming, that could, if we try to teach them, to make them good individual, better humans of the society, and critical thinking, what is good, what is bad. What is ethics? Ethics is basically differentiating things of good from bad. And some when we have more debate on it, some are intrinsically good. And when we talk about ethics, it depends on the action, whether the outcome is good or bad. So that's a very philosophical things. But if we try to start to teach all this from the primary schools, from the small children at home, and we try our media on television, they try to teach the human. Normally, what goes wrong? When I feel I'm superior to you, you teach your children, oh, this color is good, that human is good. Or you feel you are superior, I feel I'm superior. This superiority complex takes us nowhere.
No.
So that is that if we feel another way around, if you think and I think, it's the beautifulness of somebody having fair skin, white skin, the other one has a brown, other one has a black. This color, this differentiation is like flowers in a small bucket and having different colors, very beauty of the nature of the human beings. Beautiful. You think that way, rather than saying, no, I'm white, I prefer white. I'm this color, I prefer this color.
Yeah.
So that's what we need to think about.
Certainly. Thank you. And I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned there's this like Internet of Things and AI ethics and everything is more and more connected. How do you think digital challenges change as technologies become more related to each other and more interconnected? What is changing?
Yeah, the things are that now it moves quite fast. And it reaches quite fast. You may be sitting at home and something is happening thousands of miles away and it reaches you in minutes and seconds. And secondly, so there are, again, the digital technology, the goods and bads. If it is on the ethical principles, maybe we can, outreach quickly. Let's say we had earthquakes in Syria and Turkey recently, and it was so quickly known that people reached and helped and, all this. So there are some digital technology or social media or having all this helps us to reach to the victim. Yeah. And we can have solution. But on the other side, the rumors, even with this earthquake, I found somewhere on social media that it was planned by some country and there was some under the ground experiment and all this, and they targeted this country, etc., etc. Rumor. And having more, sort of bad feelings for one society in their hearts. So that is the challenge, how to overcome all this. Because the problem is that the lie moves faster than the right things. Yeah. If you tell a lie, that moves faster than if you tell the truth. Yeah. Between the truth and a lie moves faster. So those are the challenges. Those are the new world order that we have to really think about. Yeah, how to overcome all this, how to have principles of all this. Because on the television, we have some ethics for them and we can ask them to control themselves, etc., etc. But on social media, sometimes they are not controllable even. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. And I wanted to ask you, what are some of the factors, in your opinion, that influence how humans think about what technologies are considered ethically good or ethically bad? How do people decide in general? Because there's a variety of views on it.
Yeah, to be very candid, I would say it's not true for all the humans, but majority of the humans, we became too selfish sometimes and too materialistic sometimes. Yeah. For example, if my country is earning some money from some technology, I would be defending it, I would be saying it, I would be talking about it good and all this, because I'm getting the share indirectly, taxes and money and all this. You know, I usually talk to my young students that come, whatever project I have money, even if it comes from US, it is a taxpayer money. It is a
Yeah.
common man money. Logically, the science should be done for the society and with society, what we call it citizen science. So that is what should be doing. But unfortunately, society's money is misused sometimes and again used against the society. So that is one issue that we have to really consider, that how can we benefit society rather than harm the society. So there are several issues that we have to really consider, that how can another thing I would be requesting the education system, science journalism. Normally we leave science journalism to some individuals or some specialist people, but the bad journalism is done by every individual human being, me and you. I receive some message on a mobile phone and I spread it to hundreds of people without knowing whether it was right or wrong.
Yeah.
So we don't, so even I'm a professor, I'm a biology professor, sometimes I mean, oh, this is the news, and I just spread it, and before realizing that it may be wrong. So this science journalism to younger student, whether she is a biologist or a computer science or a mathematician or whatever, should be knowing to analyze the things and have some contribution to have good science, to avoid, to try to stop the bad rumors from spreading. So as I said earlier, one was the critical thinking. Other is that if we could try for our elder citizens, what I call it, graduate students, master, PhDs, they should be given some kind of a training that they on social media and print media and other media, they could have their role in saying about science. Because the world is too materialistic. The television channels are more interested in, stories that are more sexy. I'm sorry to use this word, rather than having some knowledge in it.
Yeah.
Because they sell their stories. So the stories that are more, accepted by the community, they have more time. And that the community doesn't need it, they don't watch it, so they don't show it. So it's now everybody has to play a role. So the second aspect of the younger people should be that we should be training them in science journalism.
Yes.
At university level. Yeah.
Able to spread information better and evaluate information better.
Yes. At least some training should be given, or some courses should be given. The university should be playing its role, because if something is bad in the society, we all are responsible, because all individual goes to the university, to the student, to the college. In majority of the countries, it's 100% literacy rate. So they all of them, they are educated. They've been to school and college and university. For example, if in New Zealand, somebody has committed a crime against innocent citizen, that person was educated person.
Yeah.
So he didn't get anything from, he was not came from the mountain or from some, jungle. He was, so what I'm saying is that we try to, teach these people, when we teach critical thinking and when we teach the science journalism, we should use the digital technology positively. Yeah.
Certainly. Thank you. And can I ask you, since you're based in Pakistan, what are some of the common narratives around digitalization and digital ethics in the general population beyond science?
There is, I represent Pakistan, and with Pakistan, I represent the, neighboring country also, like Afghanistan and Iran, and, because I travel and I remain the Secretary General of the Academy, so I was working with the government and other people. So with the digital technology, there is some as I said, something good and something bad. Again, in a country like this, a poor country, but everybody has a mobile phone.
Yeah.
The problem is we are worried, for example, when there was a corona, it was rumors were going, come on, this is not a disease, this is not a virus. This was, 500 years back when there was a radio signal, this disease came, and then there was a television signal, this disease came, and now there is another one, you call it this, Wi-Fi G4 or something, G5. And it is again toxicity. So even educated people, they were going on television sometimes.
Wow. Yeah.
That, this is no virus. And then some people believe that it was done by X country and they have spread in Y country. And, so in like, you're again better because you live in a developed world. So your response is rather better, maybe. But when it comes to this country, whether poor, whether people, half of our population doesn't go to school.
Yeah.
They never been to school.
Yeah.
And females, in some areas, 70% female never been to a school.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't know, or they cannot use their brain in that way, but whatever they hear, they say it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's again more problem. And then they lock down when we tell them keep a distance, have a mask, all this. They don't. We were in terrible kind of this happened in last time when there was another epidemic in US and in West Europe, that they were having some Christmas at that time and they couldn't stop it and it spread it and killed millions of people. That this 1940 or something. Same happened this time here in Pakistan and others where they were not stopping themselves going to mosques, praying together, all this. So we had faced several issues, problems. And with the digital technology too, the social media, the rumors, thanks God, we still don't have robots and all that. Technology is not that, far. We are mainly importing technology and we are poor, so we import it rather slowly. But we expect the problem with another problem with the labor, the jobs as getting less and less. If it is more mechanized agriculture, mechanized industry, so our problem is that we have a human population which is too young. Your population is too old. Our population is too young. We have many children in each family. And majority of population is between 16 and 26 or 30. Majority of our, so this can be an energy for us, or this can be a bomb for us. If they get a job, this is energy. If they are jobless, they are frustrated, they have nothing to do, and they need food, they need money, they need to marry. And we have problems, are different social problems. They cannot have a girlfriend or boyfriend, and all this is strictly prohibited here. But with mobile now, they can interact with each other. Things are changing, but the elders like me, they are not changed. They keep an eye, they watch. So there is a fight always. Many problems. Yeah, so we wish that we use this as a positive thing. Yeah.
Thank you. That's very interesting. Let me just quickly have a look at my questions. So I think I have asked you everything I wanted to, but I wanted to ask you if there's anything that you would like to add or expand on, or something that we haven't touched on yet that could be important for our project.
Yeah. What I believe is that the bottom line, I would call it, as technology continues, it will bridge, I take it positively, geographical and cultural barriers. Because of technological growth, we as I said, we bridge the geographical, cultural, religious, the barriers, they are bridged. So the most important, it is critical to ensure that these innovations that are developed ethically, respecting the diverse values, beliefs, right of the individuals and the communities worldwide. Because digital technology, as I said earlier, influence individual, society, and nature, environment. And I will quote here one word. We call it, scientifically speaking, One Health. One Health means if we want to save every human, you have to think about human, environment, and biodiversity as one. If you take care of all the three components, your health will be good. If one of the three components loses its health, human will lose its health. Whether it's environment or biodiversity or human. So I'm not going into detail, but what I expect is that this digital technology, if you are doing a great job, if you have unethical principles and values, it will really bridge the diverse culture and it will have a positive impact on the society. Excuse me. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. This has been incredibly interesting. Thank you very much for taking time to speak with me. This is very helpful for our project. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you very much for your time, and you considered me. I'm grateful. And again, I request you, please convey my regards to your vice president in charge of this project and the president of your, academy. And please convey my willingness that our academies, as I represent the three academies of Pakistan, Islamic world, and the World Academy. TWAS is in Italy. I was supposed to go to TWAS also, but I wrote you a bit.
Yeah.
So I work for all those three, IAP Inter-Academy Partnership. So please convey to them, to your seniors, that we can have some MOU, we can work together for future. All these platforms, and it could be great if you could have a bigger meeting on digitally online. And so that would be nice if we could share our resources, our either brain or whatever. It could be good for win-win for both the academies.
Yes, absolutely. I will certainly convey that. Great.
Thank you
so much.
And pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much. Have a good, I should call it, for you a day and for me, good night.
For you an evening, yes.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you. Bye.
Bye.